awesome. In fact, if you think back to your childhood, you likely have some pretty good memories with those action figures, dolls, and race cars. Hey, now that you're an adult, you probably still do, and we're not going to judge you for that. However, when it comes to sticking those toys where they don't belong, we'll judge. Just a little. Take a look at these 10 toys that were removed from children and adults and tell us this doesn't bring back good memories. Or, ruin them. Now, years of playing with toys likely taught you how to push buttons, so be sure to click the subscribe and notification buttons before we proceed. You won't regret it. A tire. Although we're going to start things off with the least strange toy ever found in a kid, this one is still a bit surprising. For years, Isaac Lassen struggled with nasal issues like congestion and snoring. To top it all off, he even had a diminished sense of smell. By the age of 6, Isaac's parents decided that enough was enough, and it was time to take him to a specialist to get things checked out. My, what a surprise they received. Using a special camera, the doctors went up the boy's nose and ran into a strange sight. There, blocking the boy's nasal passage, was a ball of fuzz. Actually, it was a lump of fungus which had grown around a foreign object. Doctors did their magic and removed the object. Upon cleaning it off, they were surprised to find the blockage had started as a small tire, like the kind a dinky car would have. Apparently, Isaac had jammed the tire up his nose 3 years earlier when he was just 3. There it sat, unnoticed, and causing all those problems that he had suffered through. Do not pass go. When it comes to board games, Monopoly is one of those all-time classics. After all, who hasn't enjoyed flying around the block collecting $200, buying up all the railroads, and laughing as your family and friends get sent to jail? Ugh. Unfortunately, we also all experienced the inevitable fights caused when people got caught cheating or it was simply a poor loser. Nonetheless, one of the iconic aspects of this game were the small playing pieces, such as the hat, the thimble, and the car. In discussion with doctors who have removed countless objects from children, one of the standouts was the Scottish Terrier playing piece. We imagine the parents opened up the game one day to discover they were missing the piece. After searching, they may have asked their child where it went. Imagine their concern when their son or daughter pointed to their nose and giggled. A trip to the emergency room later, and this little metal dog was free from its sinus prison. Although we're not sure who would want to use the booger dog ever again when the family played this popular board game. I'm a Barbie girl. There's no good way to say this, so we'll just say it. We all know that some people just can't resist shoving various objects where the sun doesn't shine. It's kind of funny, actually. When you're a kid, stuff goes straight into your nose or down your throat. When you get a little older and your interests move a little south of there, it turns out this happens so much that one doctor decided to make a book about it. In the book, Dr. Marty Sindian points out one person who came in because a toy was stuck up their backside. As x-rays showed, the toy in question was a Barbie doll. Dr. Sindian says that such large toys end up in people either because of a dare or for some sexual reason. We only have 2 questions. First, where is Barbie's head? Second, what kind of Barbie was it? Because honestly, we would really find it funny if this happened to be a Dr. Barbie. We guess it's lucky for this guy that Ken in Barbie's Corvette wasn't around, or things could have gotten really uncomfortable. Bad boy. Alright, since a lot of you likely treat your dog like a child, we figured we'd throw you a bone and include one example to show that everyone in the family does dumb things with toys. Like a child, man's best friend is notorious for putting everything and anything in its mouth. Naturally, this means pet owners make a large number of trips to the veterinarian every year to have foreign bodies removed. The owner of Django found this out firsthand. Django must have come unchained because at just 15 months of age, he took a liking to a hacky sack. Now, in most cases, the dog would end up ripping open the toy and spilling those plastic beads all over the floor. Not this golden retriever. One day, the hacky sack went missing, and Django's owner realized the trip to the vet might be the best thing. A quick x-ray later, and there it was for all to see. Sitting in Django's belly was a completely intact hacky sack. After inducing vomiting, the toy came right up whole. Although we're not sure anyone would want to play with it after that. SpongeBob. Kids love SpongeBob SquarePants. Even some adults like this bizarre little cartoon character. Nonetheless, it's not uncommon to find toys related to the SpongeBob universe strewn throughout the house of anyone with children. Now, we are 100% certain that SpongeBob lives in the Pacific Ocean with all the other characters in Bikini Bottom. One place he definitely doesn't live is inside of a person. Or does he? One doctor could definitely support this strange theory after the x-rays came back for a patient. A 16-month-old boy was brought to the doctors when his parents feared he had eaten something that he shouldn't have. Sure enough, that was the case. In an x-ray that looks photoshopped because it's so clear there was SpongeBob staring right back at the doctor with a giant grin and his tongue sticking out. It turns out this little guy was actually part of a necklace that the child had managed to get his hands on. The cartoon character was lodged in the child's throat, so it's a good thing he ended up at the doctor's office. There weren't any signs of Gary or Squidward, which is probably for the best in this situation. Time for our quiz. Kids are always shoving all sorts of strange things up their noses. According to one study, what's the most common thing doctors are removing from the nose and throats of their child patients? Is it A, batteries, B, screws, or C, rocks? We'll let the doctors tell you after we show you a few more toys removed from people. Magnets. Let's face it, for as entertaining and cute as little kids can be, they get into everything. Add into this the fact that kids are actually pretty dumb, and you have the perfect cocktail for weird stuff ending up inside of them. This is where magnets come in. You likely had a toy or two growing up that had some form of magnet built into it. Well, today, apparently there are even more things with magnets in them, including a range of adult desk objects that use those tiny, round, and ever so powerful magnets. Kids being kids, they see something shiny and smooth and instantly decide that they need to stick it up their nose or swallow it. The result can be deadly. Doctors report that there are hundreds of cases of kids coming in with their stomachs and intestines filled with magnetic balls. The problem here is that the powerful magnets stick together, pinching the walls of the digestive tract and even tearing it in some instances. It's not just limited to toddlers either. Teenagers often play around with such magnets, sticking them to their faces and pretending they have piercings. Yikes. Jurassic Find. Let's step away from the life-threatening toys for a minute and focus on the comically humiliating. When Poppy Ward joined a sexual health clinic as a nurse, she knew she'd see some weird stuff. Yet some things are stranger than others. During her first session with a patient, Ward picked the most normal-looking case, a middle-aged woman suffering from discomfort in her lower regions. During the discussions in the examination room, the woman was asked what was wrong. The patient replied by stating that she had been playing with her son's toy T-Rex, and it was stuck. After some awkward questioning, it turns out the 2-inch T-Rex had found its way into the patient's vagina. Obviously in discomfort, a quick look in that area showed a little T-Rex face and 2 tiny arms sticking out near the woman's cervix. With the T-Rex freed, the nurse informed the patient that it may be a good idea to put a leash on the dinosaur should he ever venture off again. And that, folks, is why medical professionals make the big bucks. To infinity and beyond. Don't laugh too hard, fellas. That story about the T-Rex getting lost on its way to Jurassic Park may have been amusing, but there's one guy who trumps that with a surprising toy of his own. As we've already covered, certain toys can end up in the backsides of people. According to doctors, unless patients admit it outright, the excuse usually involves sitting or falling on the object while doing chores in the nude. Yeah, right. Sure, buddy. Now, Toy Story is a family movie, so we'll do our best to keep this incident as PG as possible. Take a look at this X-ray and tell us what you see. That's right, stuck inside this man is a Buzz Lightyear action figure. What's incredible is that anyone who has ever seen one of these knows how bulky Buzz is, especially with those pop-out wings. Ouch. We're not certain what this guy's excuse was, but we would love to hear how he explained it all to his kids when he returned their Buzz Lightyear toy. We guess it could have been worse. He could have used Woody, and that would have opened up a whole other can of worms. Yeah. Squeaky clean. Earlier, we talked about a dog who had swallowed a human toy. Let's reverse things around a bit. Before we get all angry at our pets for swallowing human toys, remember that humans have been known to ingest animal toys. We're not lying, and we have proof. In 2016, a video went viral that showed an American boy in the hospital. At first, it wasn't exactly clear what was wrong with the boy, known only as Anthony. Yet if you watch and listen, it's clear something isn't quite right. Every time Anthony moved or even spoke, there was a squeaking noise. It turns out that Anthony had swallowed a dog toy. Well, he hadn't actually swallowed the whole toy, just the squeaker that makes your dog go nuts when they hear it. Apparently, Anthony couldn't resist the squeaking either, and somehow it ended up lodged in his throat. While we bet his parents weren't thrilled, we are wondering how you explain that to the medical staff. Yes, I was just chewing away on my dog's rubber ducky when the squeaker popped out and went down my throat. If children are the future, then we are all in trouble. The latest craze. Every year seems to bring a new craze that all the kids are wild for. The latest trend, in case you missed it, is fidget spinners. These things are everywhere, and it's impossible to walk into a store without seeing at least one display of these devices. So, what's the appeal? Well, thanks to high-quality bearings, you can spin these things and balance them anywhere, and they'll just keep spinning for minutes on end. If you need to know more, The Richest has quite a few videos that you should check out. However, in our case, this new toy, like every other toy before it, has managed to find its way inside of people. Kelly Yonitz was driving home when she heard a retching sound from the back seat. Her daughter was able to breathe but had a piece of a fidget spinner lodged in her throat. After heading to the hospital, x-rays show a bearing stuck in her daughter's throat. How exactly did it get there? Apparently, Yonitz's daughter put the spinner in her mouth to clean it, gross, and the part popped out. So, when you see warnings that fidget spinners are a choking hazard, you know who to thank. So, do you know which item doctors are finding they are removing the most of when it comes to their child patients? Is it A, batteries, B, screws, or C, rocks? The answer? A, batteries. It turns out more and more children are taking those small 3-volt coin or button batteries and either swallowing them or jamming them right up their noses. Maybe if they weren't so shiny? Well, that's the end of our video, and we hope you didn't get any crazy ideas from this. In fact, if you end up in the doctor's office getting a Star Wars action figure removed, that is all on you. Actually, to get your mind off it, why not check out all of our other toy-related videos? From the expensive to the strange, we've got a toy box full of stuff just waiting for you. This toy box comes complete with a big red shiny subscribe button that you need to press in order to get in. So don't wait around until it's too late. We'll be sure to see you next time. Bye-bye for now.